Hey guys, DJ here at Top Tech Cards and Games, and today I'm going to do a deck profile for the Pendulum deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! Some people are calling it Draco Pals now, Pepe, whatever you want to call it. I like Draco Pals more out of those names, so I kind of just stick to Pendulums for the most part. This deck got hit by the adjusted list, obviously. It was nerfed a little bit, but it's still probably the strongest deck in the format, definitely in my opinion anyway. It did have to go through a little bit of a change, though, to keep its power, so let's just get into the list and talk about some of the changes. First off, we have 3 Pendulum Sorcerer. Sorcerer is just such an important card in the mirror match, and just in general, I guess, really. Clearing your Pendulum scales so you're not weak to Wavering Eyes after you make your plays is very key. Pumping up your board with its Pendulum effect is very good. And just retaining advantage if you have something extra to pop, like some Lizard draws that you use to draw cards that you can special back, and just get a free search. We have 2 copies of Lizard Draw along with 2 copies of Guitartle. Lizard Draw is great since it's searchable by King of Feral Imps, and all your other effects can just provide you with a free card boost to try to go off with. Tartle is great because it lets you play your scales and give you an extra card to play with at the same time. And in conjunction, it's like you're playing Pot of Greed, so definitely something I'm interested in. We have 1 copy of Silverclaw. Silverclaw is very important since you can normal summon and run over Evil Swarm Nightmare. Sometimes I've played 2 of these, it's just a very good card. 1 copy of Monkey Board, 1 copy of Joker, and 1 copy of Second Donkey. Second Donkey sort of alleviates the shortage we have on, searchers with the limiting of Monkey Board and Skullcrab Joker on the adjusted list. Second Donkey is pretty good. It could be some other perform pile, like I've tested Bartnaga, like Second Silverclaw, various other things in that slot, but Donkey has never let me down. It's been a fine card the whole time I've been playing it. And these guys just give you a consistency in your deck. Monkey Board's very key since it's at 1, so you have to manage it very well. Which involves, in many situations, Ignistering it back into your deck, then searching it up again with Magister, which is a very key play to make in this deck, so you can continue making plays, continue forcing Monkey Board Pendulum Scales through, and just really gives you a lot of longevity that you don't have if you don't make those plays. This deck's very focused on the Draco Slayer engine, so we have 3 Vector, 3 Master, and Luster. The limiting of Luster was not great for this deck, but there's a lot of ways we can utilize these cards anyway, and Draco Face-Off makes it so we have decent access to Luster still. So we are just maxing all those cards. We are playing the Dark Engine, so 2 Armageddon Knights, a Shadal Dragon, and a Zephyros. The Dark Engine is not necessary, though in my eyes I think it's the most effective way to play the deck. Armageddon Knight giving you an out to something like Domain of the Monarchs, any other Floodgates, whatever, clear your opponent's Solemns out, or force your opponent's Solemns anyway by summoning it, since if they don't Solemn the Armageddon Knight, they'll just get Shadal Dragoned. As well as giving you Zephyros to make a 1-card rank 4, which means this guy can search out a Pendulum Scale, though in this current list that is only Lizard Draw, or just make any other rank 4 you need to, and their Darks to make Evil Storm Nightmare. So, just very important cards to the deck, really contribute a lot. And then our last monster is Rescue Rabbit. We are maxing on both Vector and Master, so Rabbit can provide some 1-card rank 4s and gives you some insane ending boards. For our spell cards, we have, these are not sorted. We have 3 Upstart Goblins first and foremost. It's just, this is a combo deck. We want to see specific cards, almost entirely really a way to Luster Pendulum, so be that Draco Face-Off, which we play 3 of, or Wavering Eyes, which we play 3 of. Both these cards are able to search out Luster Pendulum, which is very key in almost every matchup in order to either OTK our opponent or create the best boards we possibly can. We really want to have access to these cards to find Luster, so it's very important to play a smaller deck for that reason, as well as wanting to find Skullcrab, Joker, and Monkey Board. So there's just not a reason to not play Upstart in this deck. 10,000 damage is not hard to do, especially with the addition of Utopia the Lightning, so I'm not too worried about the life, and statistically it's not incredibly likely that we give our opponent all 3,000 in a game, so I don't really worry about the 11,000. We also have 3 Instant Fusions. Instant's a concession to the boards this deck can make turn 1, as well as the back row. If your opponent sets a bunch of back rows, you have to deal with them somehow, so being able to use Instant Fusion to just make a rank 4 and chuck it at your opponent's back row is very important, as well as being able to generate an extra like Diamond Dire Wolf or something in the mirror to kill their copies of like Dinosaur or whatever they may have up. It also provides a lot of damage for your direct attacks, so just a very important card. We also have 2 copies of Unexpected Die for a similar reason, which is very good at dealing with our opponent's board, and it gives us a Pendulum monster that'll go to our extra deck if we synchro with it, or if it gets destroyed in some manner. It also is very key to note that with Unexpected Die, we can search out Master Pendulum, and if we exceed with him and detach, that'll pull one into our graveyard, so it's there for us to get back with Dinoster. Last spell, we have a copy of Reinforcement of the Army. I'm actually not sure if this is more efficient than just playing the third Armageddon Knight. I go back and forth. In theory, the Rhoda is better, but in practice, there's still a lot of situations where like an anti-spell fragrance will lock this out of searching you out your Armageddon Knight, since you'll be forced to set it, so you won't be able to have it right away, or even something like a Ryo or a Mistake. So I'm not really sure. The downside of drawing a bunch of Armageddons is fairly big, especially late game ones, but drawing the Rhoda in the same situation's not great. I don't know. It's something that I really don't have a proper answer to, but in my head, playing, functionally 3 copies of Armageddon Knight as far as drawing one goes, while being able to thin one out if we draw the Rhoda first, we don't have to draw Armageddon Knight later, seems to be optimal. Finally, we played both Bottomless Trapple and Treacherous Trapple. I actually was very down on Treacherous for a very long time, but after playing some more in the post-adjusted list format, I find that being able to Rafflesia and just pop 2 of your opponent's monsters with Treacherous and then still have the Bottomless for backup is such a key interaction in the deck that you can't afford to not play both of them. Sorry, a lot of negatives there. It seems necessary in my practice to play both of these cards. So that's where I'm at on them. I do not think the Counter Trap engine is very good. It just gives you too many losses going second. I think no matter what variant of this deck you play, going first is actually not that bad for you. You can always set up a decent board. You can, get Nightmares. You can get like the Dinoster, Double Magister boards that will protect your life total very well while giving you a bunch of cards to play with for the next turn. In general, my main focus is going second and clearing my opponent's board, which I think this list does very well. I will talk about some other cards that I'm considering after we go through the extra deck. For extra, we have 2 copies of Norden, just to go with our instance. 1 copy of Dinosaur. I don't think you need more than 1 of this guy. Some people play 2 and use like a rank 8. I'm not bothering with a rank 8. I don't think that, even in the situations where I can make one, that's really worth it most of the time. And I do think this card's very important, though, since we can make him turn 1, protect our scales. If we can keep a Vector in our Pendulum Zone, for instance, in the mirror, that's very strong. Then we have 2 copies of Ignister. Ignister is just another extremely key card in almost every matchup. Like I said, we really just want to find ways to luster Pendulum, since Ignister is really the backbreaker in most games. Clearing our opponent's board out to push damage through, getting rid of problem cards, shuffling back in our monkey boards. As I mentioned, one of the things I strive to do turn 1 if I'm going first with this deck is to use my monkey board, then make Ignister, pop my other Pendulum Scale, shuffle in monkey board, and then also make a Magister, so I can search up monkey board at the end of the turn. Magister is a reason to play Eccentric Archfiend, which I'm not doing, though I am sideboarding it, so that's something for you to keep in mind, since if you go first against, even in the mirror, it's not the end of the world, but if you go first, you can make Magister and search out Eccentric to deal with their floodgates or their back rows or whatever. In the mirror, it's not the end of the world, since Eccentric can tribute off to kill an Evil Swarm Nightmare, so it's never really a bad thing, and maybe Eccentric should be in this deck. Anyways, after that, we have a copy of King of Feral Imps, just for setup. It's less good since we're not playing Chameleon or Part Naga, but it's good enough in a lot of situations. Next we have our 2 just generic Exceeds, like we have Castell and Direwolf. You play both these cards because they deal with your opponent's back rows. Not too much to say about them really, they're just very important cards to make our opponent's cards go away. Then we have 3 kind of stun rank 4s. We have Abyss Dweller, Rafflesia, and Evil Swarm Nightmare. All good in different matchups and for different reasons. Nightmare is just one of the most powerful cards you can play in the mirror match. Really shuts your opponent off of really any big push. Rafflesia can be used both offensively and defensively. Normally both at the same time, really. You summon or Treacherous your opponent's monsters and then have Bottomless for next turn. And Dweller is really just anti-Monarch tech if you look at the Tier 1 decks. Occasionally it comes into relevance against Cosmo to shut off a ship in the graveyard, but 90% of the time that doesn't happen. Finally, we have the new additions of Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. Utopia himself isn't actually that bad. Something I'd mentioned before is that if I can clear my opponent's Domain of the Monarchs, I still need to have something 2500 attack to kill their Majesty's Fiend, which I wasn't using anything before, so Utopia helps in that regard no matter what. But there's no reason to ignore playing Utopia the Lightning when you can just get a monster that can push 5,000 damage so quickly. Anyways, that's the extra. I'm going to talk about some cards that we're not playing that I thought about playing now. Just to instantly kind of spin off Utopia the Lightning, Turn Toad is a card that's just extremely strong with Lightning. It might be worth playing, I'm not sure yet. In the mirror, if your opponent has a turn attack mode, and you Turn Toad it, that's just 5k damage that's going to come through off Utopia, so you only need to push 3k through elsewhere, which seems very, very good and probably worth taking advantage of, but I haven't gotten the chance to really play games with it yet. Let's see what else. Book of Moon is a card I was considering for a while because it both protects my board as well as dealing with my opponents. If I set a book and my opponent tries to play into it, I can stop one of their rank 4s or something to protect my Rafflesia, Infinity, or not Infinity, Rafflesia, Nightmare, whatever I may have. Or if I'm on the offensive, I can flip down their Rafflesia or Nightmare so that I'm able to actually play Yu-Gi-Oh! Third Turtle, third Lizard Jar, both cards that I've tested. I've been happier with the third Lizard, though Turtle seems okay in theory. Partnaga has been in a lot. Partnaga, especially if you have a Monarch-heavy meta, is great. So that's definitely something worth considering, and it gets you a lot more value out of Fairlum since it becomes a searcher for low scales, which basically turns your Armageddon Knights into full-on Stratus effects since they search either scale. Second Silverclaw has come in and out a lot, like I said. It's kind of meta-dependent, I guess. In the mirror, I really like this card since it'll help me deal with my opponent's nightmares. Partnaga kind of does the same thing, though, so I might be more tempted to play Partnaga before I play second Silverclaw. And then One Masked Chameleon has come in and out a bunch of times. This guy over here. Chameleon is another Fairlimbs target that gives us more access to Ignister. However, I found myself not wanting to make the play very often with Fairlimbs to search it, and then I found myself losing a lot of games to just having a Masked Chameleon sitting in my hand dead. And the last thing I've tested is One Painful Decision. I played every number of this. 3 wasn't good. 2 was okay, but I didn't really need the effect that often. You don't want to play 2 of them in a game ever, really. You don't need to play 2 of them in a game ever, really. So I was using one of these in the spot that Second Donkey is in right now, which is also the spot that Turn Toad, Chameleon, pretty much everything is occupied in this list. These are all just one-ofs that basically go in the Donkey slot sometimes. Then the other big thing is, like I said, Eccentric Archfiend, which has come in and out several times, which is decent in a lot of matchups. Maybe it's correct to play it, actually, with Double Magister. That one's probably a mistake to not be manning, but with the Dark Engine with Armageddon Knight, I felt that I have enough outs to back row, and I'm probably undervaluing this card's ability to kill a monster, though, in that evaluation. But that is the list right now. This deck is still insanely strong. I hope none of you thought this deck was dead, or, you know, if you did, I hope that you're realizing by watching this that it's definitely still a deck that you can expect to see at tournaments in the near future. Just going to lay it all out real quick again. And I do think that the deck got hurt a little bit, obviously, by the changes, but not enough that you can expect it to go away anytime soon. This deck is here to stay. The Pendulum mechanic is the most powerful mechanic in the game right now, and probably will be for some time. It's one of the most powerful mechanics we've seen in a very long time, so I don't expect it to fall off anytime soon. If they manage to make something more broken, that would be one of the greatest card design blunders I've ever seen. So I'm hoping they don't make anything more broken than it. Anyways, if you guys have any questions about the deck, matchups, whatever, sideboarding, let me know down below. Questions about the build, or any specific combos you're not really sure on. Just let me know down there. If you guys are interested in more Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you're from the Pittsburgh area, make sure you check us out on Facebook. We have events all the time at the store. So, thanks for watching, guys.